President Donald Trump and tech mogul Elon Musk sat down with Fox News host Sean Hannity recently.
The full interview aired last night. The three discussed various topics from inflation to Doge and Musk's support for Trump.
Here's Trump on inflation.
Inflation is back. I'm only here for 2.5 weeks.
That was January.
Inflation is back.
For a week.
No, think of it. Inflation's back. And they said, oh, Trump, inflation. I had nothing to do with it. These people have run the country. They spent money like nobody's ever spent. They were given $9 trillion to throw out the window. $9 trillion. And they spent it on the Green New scam, I call it. It's the greatest scam in the history of the country. One of them. We have a lot of them, I guess, but one of them.
The two also touched on conflict of interest concerns surrounding Musk's ventures and his work with the administration.
He thinks he has a better product,
yeah.
And as long as he has a level playing field, he doesn't care what you do, which
exactly.
is very, he's told me that.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't asked the president for anything ever.
And if it comes up, how will you handle it?
Well,
he won't be involved.
Yeah, I'll recuse myself if it is.
If there's a conflict, he won't be involved.
Yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't want that, and he won't want it.
Right, and obviously I'm getting a sort of a daily proctology exam here. You know, it's not like I'll be getting away from something in the dead of night.
Welcome to D.C. If you want a friend, get a dog.
The two also discussed criticism they face from Democrats and the media.
The president is the elected representative of the people, so he's representing the will of the people. And if the bureaucracy is fighting the will of the people and preventing the president from implementing what the people want, then what we live in is a bureaucracy and not a democracy.
Now I see they want you two to start, they want a divorce. They want you two to start hating each other. And they try, President Elon Musk, for example. You do know that they're doing that to you.
Elon called me. He said, you know, they're trying to drive us apart. I said, absolutely. You know, they said, we have breaking news. Donald Trump has ceded control of the presidency to Elon Musk. President Musk will be attending a cabinet meeting tonight at 8 o'clock. And I say, It's just so obvious. They're so bad at it. I used to think they were good at it. They're actually bad at it, because if they were good at it, I'd never be president.
Like, I was at a friend's birthday party in LA, just a birthday dinner, and it was like a nice, quiet dinner, and everyone was behaving normally. And then I happened to mention, this is before the election, like a month or two before, I happened to mention the president's name. And it was like they got shot with a dart in the jugular that contained like methamphetamine and rabies, okay? And they're like, wow! And I'm like, what is wrong? Like, guys, like, you can't have like a normal conversation.
And last but not least, they touched on the goals of Doge.
Well, the overall goal is to try to get $1 trillion out of the deficit. And if the deficit is not brought under control, America will go bankrupt. This is a very important thing for people to understand. A country is no different from an individual, in that if an individual overspends, an individual can go bankrupt, and so can a country.
Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk wrote in part on X, what the world saw tonight between President Trump and Elon Musk is that the world's most powerful man and the world's richest man are actual friends. This is what the left and the haters will never properly account for. I've tried to explain it to people for years. President Trump is a good man who loves America and has genuine friendships that create more power and momentum for positive change than any pundit will ever be able to commentate on or calculate. All patriotic Americans should wish them both Godspeed and much success.
Meanwhile, Substacker Wajahat Ali wrote on Blue Sky, why is Musk, who has no official role, sitting down and doing interviews with Trump in the White House?
This was a fascinating interview. The Trump-Elon relationship is a strong one. I think it throws a lot of people, or especially a lot of liberals, because Trump has never really shared the spotlight before. He has unpersoned or gotten rid of people who aspire to his level of celebrity. Obviously, there was a lot of personnel changes in his first White House as people kind of jockeyed for positions and power, etc. And yet now it's only been, I guess, a month. So who knows?
To believe.
Who knows where this will end up? But in Elon, Trump has found someone he clearly likes and respects and enjoys the company of and listens to. This is a very powerful alliance that could reshape our entire country, is reshaping our entire government, our relationship with other countries. And it seems to be an enduring one. Trump is not taking the bait on the media trying to say, oh, Elon's actually the president, make him feel jealous, get rid of Elon. That's clear. Excuse me, that's clearly not going to work. On the Elon side, Elon is happy to acknowledge that Trump is the president. I'm just making suggestions. He makes the final call, etc. It is a dynamic that is working.
It is certainly a dynamic that none of us would have predicted a year ago, even several months ago. So it is fascinating to watch. What I will say is, I think that so-called interview, because I think they were all softballs, right? It was really just...
It was a friendly
It's a friendly conversation among three friends, I think is pretty clear.
Yeah, well, three people who agree, broadly.
Exactly. But it was really not designed to break any news, right? It was just performative. It was designed to show that these guys have a good relationship and to drive home exactly the message that you're describing there, Robby, is that they have a strong relationship. The things that people are lobbing at them is not going to have an impact. Now, that's what they set out to do last night.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's genuine, though. I mean, maybe I'm a fool for believing it, but I think they genuinely like each other, agree on how they're doing. I don't think it's like just for the cameras or something.
Well, I think
they spend a lot of time together, and they think that's a successful strategy.
I think they're clearly happy with each other at the moment.
But, what did Elon say? He loves Donald Trump as much as any one straight man can love another.
Well, that's a very interesting comment from the guy who we were just talking about is potentially got a 13th kid. Look, I think here's the thing. The good news is last night did what they wanted it to do. It jived up all of their base and got the other side more annoyed than ever. The bad news is both of them actually have a very long track record of having, quote unquote, really strong relationships with people either in their professional lives or their private lives, and then all of that falling out. I mean, famously so for both of them.
Yeah.
So all that is to say, as you point out, Robby, it's been a month. We'll see where they are in a year.
I tweeted late last night after having an entire bottle of wine, so maybe this wasn't the best tweet ever, but their relationship is beginning to remind me of, do you watch, I'm still trying to figure out what your thing is. Do you watch Game of Thrones? Did you watch any Game of Thrones?
Did I watch Game of Thrones? Probably 100 times.
Oh, you're a Game of Thrones person. Great. They're starting to give me Cersei and Qyburn vibes. That's her advisor, the necromancer guy. Because their relation, on paper, these are two people who don't seem like they would hang out. Cersei doesn't get along with anyone because she's, so self-centered and makes all these chaotic decisions. But then she finds someone who gets her and just wants to do his crazy scientific experiments and is there for her and defends and supports her and actually builds her into the very powerful leader she always wanted to be, consolidates in the later seasons total control over Westeros with Qyburn at her side. That's the vibe I'm getting from these days. You're terrified. You're like, oh God, I didn't think of it that way.
No, I see where you're going with this. I will say this. So Qyburn had something to gain from it, his own power, his own dynamic.
Well, he wanted to do his scientific experimentation for the good of all humanity and his benefit.
Maybe so.
See, there's an Elon thing there. Obviously, it's good for Elon's companies, but he wants to get us to Mars and do scientific experimentation.
At any cost.
Well,
harming anybody that was in their path. And in the very end, now we're going too far down this Game of Thrones rabbit hole, but in the end, she ran away from him and let him be crumbled on his own.
Yeah, it didn't turn out well for that. Well, we just pretend the last season didn't happen because it was so bad, and I don't recognize
we're on the same page.
In my headcanon, Daenerys is still sailing to Westeros, and none of the last two seasons has taken place yet. All right, coming up on Rising, how is Trump doing at the border? What's going on between Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Tom Homan? We'll discuss. Stay with us.